Hello folks, welcome to the Hideout. Tonight we have a very wonderful show for you. We're going to be talking about CM Punk, the current dealings with his contract, what's going on, where is he in Chicago, is he getting new tats, what's going on? I have no idea. All I do know is, it's clobbering time. Hello and welcome to the Hideout. This is Jason Bailey and this is
Dave Beaudrie.
Dave Beaudrie. This is the uber fan of everything that is wrestling. Dave and I actually are avid wrestling fans. It is our chosen sport. We love it. Absolutely 100%. And we have a lot to talk about, Dave.
Indeed we do, starting with CM Punk and his decision to walk out on the WWE. What are your thoughts on that?
CM Punk walking out. Is this his third time? Fourth time?
Well, he hasn't been known as one who walked out, though. I think this is a first for that. He's had contractual disputes and things of that nature. But as far as actually leaving...
No, you're right. But there was a lot of threatening over the years every time that he wasn't happy about something, correct?
Well, there were threats when his contract was going to be expiring.
Okay, so Dave, catch us up on what's going on with CM Punk right now.
Okay, CM Punk is right now one of the biggest stars in the WWE, or at least he should be. He's not necessarily always booked as such, hence some of his current frustration. He's known as being one of the most reliable guys as far as not taking time off. He's just kind of worked the grind. I think he's been with the company for like 10 years now or something.
Has it been 10 years?
Well, he started in OVW, so, and then the ECW stuff was like 2007 or something like that, so thereabouts.
Well, yeah. Close, absolutely, 100%. All right, so what is this? Like, what's his current frustrations?
Current frustrations, as I understand it, are one, he's just tired. He's beaten up. You know, he did an interview with Ariel Helwani like a week ago, right before, maybe a week and a half, right before the walkout. He did right before the UFC show in Chicago. And he had said that he'd been sick for an extended period of time. They've done blood work and things of that nature, and they didn't know what was
sick.
wrong.
Like what sick?
He didn't specify.
Like an STD?
Like he was not feeling well.
Said AJ goddamn Lee. And before her was Lita.
And before her was...
a bunch of Punk chicks.
So, Punk basically...
You lie down with dogs, Dave.
No judgment. No judgment.
I know, I'm not judging either. So go ahead.
Not at all.
Not at all.
But, so Punk... Basically, also the plan as of right now, as far as we know, for WrestleMania was that Punk was going to go up against Triple H. The rumor is that Punk was not necessarily happy with that. Especially, I don't know what the planned, no one knows what the planned finish was or who was supposed to kind of go over or whatever. But he did not feel that this was... He wants a main event spot, and he thinks that he's earned it. And he didn't see this as being that. So he eventually, on Monday night, walked out.
Before Raw.
What has been discussed, we weren't there, but apparently he waited around to tell Vince that he was going home, and then Vince didn't get around. Vince was doing rewrites and didn't get around to see him until like 7:30 when the show goes live at 8.
Vince still doing rewrites.
Yeah.
Good God.
Well, it was the night after the Royal Rumble.
Good Lord Almighty. They're going to have to pull the WWE out of his cold, dead hand one day.
Well, Vince may also be the only one that'll get CM Punk back, because apparently he and Triple H are apparently at odds about how best to handle the situation.
Vince and Triple H?
Yes. Triple H, again, rumors, we're not there. What I've heard is that Triple H is basically saying, fuck him, let him go. He's being disrespectful, and of course this is because this is his WrestleMania guy, and Vince wants to get him back. I think ultimately he'll be back, but whether or not it's in time for WrestleMania, iffy.
Okay, well, CM Punk's contract was supposed to already end in July.
July of this year.
Anyway, correct? Okay. How old is CM Punk?
35, I believe.
Okay, because he has been saying to everybody that will listen that he is close to retiring. He is going to be taking off. At July, he's going to at least take a few years off, get into something else. We don't know what it is exactly.
His most recent comments on that with Helwani was just that he didn't know. Helwani asked him specifically when his contract was up. He said July, and then he asked him if he was going to be coming back or re-signing. And Punk's comment was that the last time his contract was up, there was all this back and forth about whether he would or wouldn't sign. So now he's strictly saying he doesn't know yet what he's doing.
So CM Punk just felt he wasn't being used correctly. Boy, it sounds a lot like we're talking about Austin just 10 years ago. Good Lord.
Austin has commented on it, and he thinks ultimately cooler heads will prevail and Punk will be back. But he has also said about his own walking out that it was one of the worst decisions he ever made, and he lost out on a lot of money because of it. Now, there's something else that should not be overlooked. WrestleMania is the worst time to walk out, normally from a financial standpoint. Now, Punk is... He's supposed to be doing fine, yeah. So he doesn't need the money, but also the WWE Network launch, there's something that has not been taken care of yet. They don't know how they're doing pay-per-view bonuses. Because WrestleMania is going to be on the WWE Network, the pay-per-view buys aren't going to be that much. So normally wrestlers will get this tremendous, huge pay-per-view bonus check about 5 or 6 months after WrestleMania for their WrestleMania appearance. And now they don't know how they're going to do that, so that money may not even be there. I think that's another thing that they're frustrated about. After the network launch announcement, they were supposed to do a meeting where they were going to talk to the guys about this is how we're going to restructure the financials. The meeting got canceled the day of, and they have never rescheduled it. Punk specifically said in the most recent interview with Hawani that he had no idea how that was being done. So WrestleMania is not.
I don't think Vince does.
WrestleMania is not looking nearly as lucrative because they haven't been told how they're getting paid for it. So that could be another reason. Well, he's like, well, I don't know how I'm getting paid for it. I don't like the creative direction I'm going into. I feel like shit, and it's not worth it.
CM Punk sort of has this special connection with the fans that a lot of other wrestlers just don't have currently. I mean, we could, obviously Daniel Bryan and everyone's yes, 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 and cheers and everything, and I'm not discounting that. But there's something about CM Punk that touches on our nostalgia. At least for me, the way I'm thinking about it, a nostalgia from almost the Attitude Era or a dissimilar era. There's something about him that you just read off him, the charisma he has, the aura that he brings to both his performance, whether it's the promos he gives, whether it's the matches he gives, whatever the hell it is that he's doing. It's different. It feels, it's got this Steve Austin, Roddy Piper thing. About him.
Here's what
is it?
The difference is that it's, in a lot of ways, it's genuine. And the reason I don't watch a lot of the current stuff as much, I think you watch it more than I do, is because it's so prefabricated. And all these guys are being told what to say. They're being given scripts. Here are your lines. Memorize this promo. Punk doesn't do any of that. And he's an old school wrestling fan. He says that he wishes that he could go back in time and work for the Crockett's. Punk is a guy that could go into any era, I think, and get himself over in that era and succeed.
Maybe not the mid-'80s.
I think he could.
In the steroid era.
As a villain?
In the Hulkamania era. Maybe as a manager.
Piper wasn't that big.
Who?
Piper wasn't
he was
that
big.
Piper He was heavier, but
Piper was on the juice, even when he was heavy. And he did into something. Yeah. So, I mean, no, he was bigger than Punk.
Sure.
Punk could have made it in the NWA. I can't see WWF. And I have to say WWF because back then it really was the World Wildlife Federation or whatever the hell they called.
That panda fucked up anything.
Fuck the panda.
But here's the thing, is Punk is an old school guy in that mindset. And he also is very open about what he believes works and what he believes doesn't. So therefore, wrestling is predetermined, it's scripted, they work this stuff out ahead of time. But when he is on camera, you believe that he believes what he's doing. And that allows you to suspend your disbelief. It's like watching a good movie. The second you break the disbelief, it's gone. And he's one of the only guys now that can really, in that moment, make you believe in what he's doing.
Right. It's like everyone talks about CM Punk's famous pipe bomb, his big promo. Now, it's like Triple H says, when everyone's talking to him about it in a real-life interview, not a Michael Cole interview, but a real interview, where Triple H is basically saying, do you really think that we let someone just come on the air and get a microphone and go insane and blah, 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 blah? And that's the truth. But what it is it shows CM Punk's level of talent. That he can take something that it's not scripted, but at the same time, it was known that this was going to happen by the powers to be, and he still put honesty into the promo and made it seem like it was a spontaneous event.
Well, because I think
that's at the core of wrestling. If you look at the theatrics or the storytelling or whatever we like about it, That's what we like about it. We love that part of wrestling.
That's what it comes down to, is that unpredictability is what makes things interesting. And the current product to me is incredibly predictable. You know exactly where it's going. There's no doubt about,
anytime Super Cena comes to the ring, you know exactly what's going to happen.
But here's the thing with
somebody's ass getting buried in that ring.
When Punk did the pipe bomb promo in 2011, which is fairly infamous, as you mentioned, Punk's a professional. He knows what he can't do. He's not going to go. He's not stupid enough to go on USA Network and say fuck Vince McMahon, but he will go on to USA Network and say maybe the company will be better when Vince McMahon's dead. Those are two different things.
Which was great.
Which was fantastic.
Great promo. The CM Punk situation, as far as I look at it, is he is a tremendous talent.
Absolutely.
He's one of those few people that come along every once in a while that, like he says at the beginning of the DVD that they put out for him.
Yeah.
For all practical purposes, he is someone that should never have made it. In this environment.
Here's the thing,
especially 10 years ago, and he did.
But here's the thing that's unique about him as well. He's a guy that when you give him creative input is when he shines the most.
Absolutely.
The DVD is a good example. He had his own creative input on the DVD more so than pretty much anybody who has done one before him, to my understanding.
Yeah.
And it's one of the best releases they ever did because he had the control to say, this is how I want this to be presented.
Well, it's like when he did.
That's what makes him popular.
Also, when he did the Straight Edge Society that came out of his fucking brain,
and then they killed it
to be like an uber villain, and it succeeded fabulously.
And then they killed it.
Yeah, they were just like, that's over. My God, that could have gone on for 2 or 3. You could have had the audience to where they wanted to murder him and everyone involved.
He would have been an absolute main event villain had they put him past a rivalry with Rey Mysterio, and instead they just kind of killed it off, and because it wasn't part of their long-term plans involving
Rey Mysterio is best used when he's used as a dart by Kevin Nash.
Oh, God, he got booed like crazy at the Rumble, though. When he came in 30, because everyone wanted it to be Daniel Bryan, Ray got like the biggest heel reaction ever.
Oh, no fault of his own. It's not Daniel, it's this other guy.
They booed him out of the building.
Christ. I'm sorry. Ray, you'll always be just another La Parka to me.
Oh, that's not fair.
Anyway.
Rey Mysterio's fantastic.
La Parka. I like La Parka.
What do you see happening?
The thing is, Vince, they always say in a storyline capacity, when Triple H and Stephanie are on there, what's best for business, and then now it's just this punchline.
Yeah, it's an internet
meme. And by the way, that's one of Vince's main things that he always says, that what's best for business. I do what's best for business 100% of the time. Well, the thing is that this time I think Vince might actually do what's best for business, even though they pulled all advertising.
But what does that mean?
They took CM Punk's documentary off Netflix, like the next day.
Well, they're pulling documentaries off Netflix anyway.
Triple H's just came on today.
I'm sure it did.
Guess Dave didn't know that, did he? No, the only one left is Triple H's Thy Kingdom Come. You didn't know that, did you?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you son of a bitch. See, I proved it right there. CM Punk goes, Triple H just comes. My God, he's even putting himself over on Netflix. Well, to me, one of the things that I've heard that CM Punk has said, and if he did say it, I believe it 100% to be accurate, is he told Vince McMahon, you're punishing wrestling fans for being wrestling fans. The people that they're getting behind, that they're cheering, that they want to see actually wrestle against each other in matches, they're getting these terrible storylines, these terrible programs, and that you're even if you use them, you're putting them against people that they don't want to see. For the wrestling fan, the uber fans that we are, it's very simple. Take Daniel Bryan, take CM Punk, and let them fucking beat the shit out of each other for a title. And let it go on for 3 or 4 months. I mean, let's see some good shit. Let's just, all craziness, I mean, the whole thing. 2 great wrestlers beating the hell out of each other and putting on fantastic matches with great storylines.
And they had some great matches when Punk was champion, but I don't think they were ever main event over John Cena.
Not at this, no. Make them the main event. CM Punk, we want you back, and a very underused talent in the last 2 years, definitely. He needs to be in the main event picture all the time, whether it's a title or not. You got to use the talent while you have it. They're not young forever, for Christ's sake.
Strictly speaking, as a fan, I said I kind of go off and on what the current stuff. If I'm flipping around and Punk's on TV, I'll watch it.
Done. CM Punk. Come back. All right, Dave. Thank you very much. we appreciate your contributions to the show.
Oh,
and we'll be having you back very often to talk about all things wrestling and anything that comes to your mind as well.
Always good to be at the Batcave Hideout.
Exactly. The
Fortress
the
of Solitude.
Perfect. No, that's Cody's place. There's a big dog there. Okay, thank you very much. Jason, Dave, from the Hideout. See you next time. So he's looking at Triple H coming out of his yearly retirement for the big show. Not the big show. But, you know, the big WrestleMania, the grandest stage of them all.
That was good. You should do that more often.
Thank you. That's my big show.
That's the promo for the show, I think.
That's it.